Welcome, guys. Welcome to another live stream. I want to get some of these live streams out talking about the series I've been watching and the shows I've been watching. And I recently watched Selena, the Netflix series. So I can really relate to Selena because she is Mexican American. I'm Mexican American. Actually, I'm a little bit of Puerto Rican too. I don't speak a lick of Spanish. So during this my thoughts on the series and during my review on the series, I just want to let you guys know, one, we'll be talking, there's spoilers. I mean, do you really call them spoilers? It's about a life of a musician. I think everybody knows what happened to Selena. I think everybody knows what Selena has gone through. Everybody's seen the Jennifer Lopez movie and the Edward James Olmos. I'm assuming everybody's seen that. If you haven't, blasphemy, go watch it. It's great. Um, so I'm going to butcher a lot of names, especially the last name of Selena and her family. I'm going to try my best. I'm not very good at speaking, even though I do this for a living, I guess. Not really. I work, I guess, but whatever. So, I mean, I watched the series, and after the series, I took some time to really kind of dive into the life of Selena, and I feel like I know Selena a lot more than when I did when I was a kid and I watched the film. And I just know more about what she went through, what her family went through, more of the story than what we got in the movie, especially watching the series and especially digging in a little deeper to the story. And there's very, very, right off the bat, strong similarities between Selena Quintanilla. I know I butchered the last name. I was practicing so many times. I butchered the last name, but Selena and her family compared to the Jackson family. And I'll get into that, especially with the father figures that, Michael Jackson's father figure and Selena's father, like the two families are very, very similar. So yes, let's go right into the series. What my thoughts are, there's a lot of debate there's a lot of people that did not like this series, that said that it wasn't a very good representation of Selena. And Selena is such an icon. Her style, her moves, her singing was I think I've only seen one person who could sing live and just be right on the money, and that was Josh Turner. But if you listen to Selena and you listen to a lot of her live performances, that woman had a voice. That woman, there was a reason why she idolized Janet Jackson and Whitney Houston, Paula Abdul, all those famous '80s stars. So right off the bat, I feel like I'm gonna dive deep into the series. Here's the things I like about it. Okay. The things I like is I think all the actors do a great job acting. I think they all have I think a lot of them bring something to the table with their performances. Even the lead who's playing Selena, even though she doesn't look like her, there's some really bad things about somewhat of her performance, but she holds her own. If she wasn't playing Selena, I would really like the character she's playing, basically. But I think it was a bad kind of casting choice on Selena herself. But overall, AB, Suzette, the mother's okay. Abraham Sr., like I think that casting was great. I think they all brought whatever they were given something to the table, and I think the acting throughout the whole series wasn't bad. There is some castings or maybe just not enough material where I'm like, it didn't work out for some people, like the actor who's playing Chris, Selena's soon-to-be husband, the love of her life, whatever you want to call him, the guitar artist. No, I'm just kidding. But I felt like he was miscast, and I felt like they really did Chris dirty in this series. I'm going to get into that in a moment. But what I really appreciate about the series is that you don't really focus crazy amount of time on Selena, even though Selena should be the main focus. She is the icon. She is the voice. She is why we're here, right? But I really appreciate focusing on AB, how he came up with some of these songs, the beats, his determination. Like, he's a gifted cat. He's a very gifted cat. Selena is not where the Selena, the icon that we know and the songs that we know, if it wasn't for her brother. Her brother really brought a lot to the table, and I really appreciate that they focus. And I know that the Quintanilla family, Abraham Senior, he's the one that had the whole control of this series, and really like portray, you get more of Selena's sister and Selena's brother, and of course you get a different light of her dad Abraham, and we'll get to him in a moment. But focusing on the brother, there is a little bit like glimpses of his life, how he meets his first wife, how he has a baby. There's that, but it's kind of brushed really quick, which I kind of want to dwell deeper a little bit on that. I think the kids, I think the kid actors were great too. Seeing the relationship between all of them, and then growing up, seeing the relationship where they were at that moment when Selena was getting big, was great too. You really felt like it was a real strong. They were a really strong family. Like they got each other's back. And coming from a Hispanic family, and coming from my family and my experiences, that's we have that family dynamic. Like we always, even though we fight and there's huge, messy fights, you still kind of like that's your brother, that's your sister, that's your mother, and that's your father. The crazy thing is, we'll get into Senior right now. So Abraham, Selena's dad, is definitely portrayed a lot different than the movie. We're going to talk about movie here and there because I don't want to get too much into like comparing the two, because honestly, this is a lot different than the movie in my opinion, especially with the dad Abraham. Abraham to me was soft in this series, and the guy and Abraham who pretty much had the rights to all this and to tell Netflix how he wanted it done, how he wanted his family portrayed, how he wanted Selena portrayed. If you don't know Abraham, Selena's dad, this dude is like the Joe Jackson of the Jackson 5. He knew Selena was going to be a star. He got a band together. He knew that they were going to go far if he pushed them. But the problem is, I think Abraham, as a real person, was that father that really demanded a lot. And really, I think the kids and Selena, watching the series a little bit, and kind of seeing like how the father wanted to portray himself in the series, was a little bit more lenient. Like he was tough, but he was like tough for a purpose. But if it came off too Hallmark, not Hallmarky, but Disney, a little bit too Disney. I know right off the bat, I think the movie did a way better representation of Abraham, because Abraham, to me, would be the father figure who screamed at his children, whooped his children's ass when they were young, who really kind of didn't give these kids a life, honestly. I think Abraham, really, especially with Selena, I think when Selena was growing up, she was always happy. I really generally think she was very happy and happy-go-lucky, joking, loved her family, loved her father. But at some point, I think or just throughout her life, I think she probably wished she had a little bit of a normal life. And I don't think Abraham did that. I think Abraham pushed his kids way too far. And the way he conducted himself, I think is way more different than what the series showcased. Like it's funny when, Abraham in one particular scene tells his son, "Hey, we need lights for this concert, get in the garbage." And his son's like, "Why don't you do it?" Like, "Cause get in the garbage." He gives him a life lesson, and it's supposed to be played off as funny. And then he makes his son get lights. He makes his son do basically everything while giving him life lessons and while kicking back in the car in the heater. That is the kind of like dickish kind of moves. I feel like, yeah, they play it for laughs, but I think it was way worse than that. I think if you're in a situation like that, Abraham doing the things he does, pushing his kids the way he does, I think it was much worse in real life. But the series really sugarcoats it, where it makes you think that Abraham is just trying to teach his kids something, or he's trying to protect his family, which I'm no doubt, I believe he was trying to protect Selena, especially with a lot of the things. She was growing into a woman, and also his other kids. But I find it funny how we don't get anything about his AB, his son, when he has a kid. That Abraham, you don't get anything with Abraham in that, and like whether he disapproved or whatever. So I think they missed a lot of opportunity. I think they went too fast from them as children, them as teenagers, them as adults. I think there was a little bit more meat and potatoes. And I think Abraham, who's the head guy of doing this whole series really sugarcoated a lot of things, especially the portrayal of himself. I think it was more on the money of the movie when it came to him, but I don't even think that was even all to it. But the actor who plays Abraham in this series does a good job. He's never going to fill in the shoes of Edward James Olmos. Edward James Olmos is just fantastic in that role. So I didn't expect him to be better than him. I didn't expect this series to be better than the movie. I kind of took it as how it is. I wanted to see what was different, what they could show me, what they could teach me about Selena, the series. So watching the series, like I said, the acting was great. I think it taught me more about Selena, about the music wise. It kind of is like Bohemian Rhapsody. When Bohemian Rhapsody hit, everybody loved it because it was a concert. Everybody was having fun. It brings you back to Queen's music. This is the same thing with Selena. Selena, the series really brought you back to the music, the fun it had. I mean, there was like a lot of jams I didn't know about because I knew Selena, I love Selena, but I wasn't too crazy of a fan. And just getting back into it and finding out a lot of this music that she had. I didn't even know she did a cover of, I believe it's called Psyche. It's a song from the 60s, and I love that song. My grandpa actually introduced me to that song, and it's a trip, and I didn't know she did a cover to that. So right away I went to Spotify and got that bad boy. So what the series does make you appreciate that the icon Selena. It does make you appreciate her music. And it actually makes me appreciate how much of a fashion guru she was. I didn't know she was so deep into that fashion. I knew she did her own costumes, but the way they portray her and going back and seeing the interviews and just listening to Selena herself talk about her love for fashion was it's great that the series really brought that along because that's a part of her. That's what she really, really loved. And I think that's kudos to the series to really showcase that. Now, the series, overall, the series, I thought it was fine. I'm going to go straight off the bat. I didn't think it was the most amazing thing. I didn't think it was trash. I didn't think it was terrible. Do I not agree with a lot of things with it? So, yeah, somewhat. I just don't think, I think it was okay. I did get entertainment from it. I did appreciate the fact that, you get a little bit more Suzette. I wanted to know more of her sister, knowing that, yeah, she is a female drummer. And then that line where, Ringo Starr or the Beatles, they needed him, even though he wasn't like, nobody likes Ringo. I need you, Suzette. You're perfect for this band. The one thing I love too was the playfulness they really brought in to Selena in this series. She is very playful. She's always smiling. She loves her. You really see the love for her family, for her fans. And I think that you see that in interviews of the real Selena when she's conducting interviews or she's on talk shows. You see that was genuine. I don't think Selena was faking that at all. I think, and when you hear her talk and her mess up in Spanish a lot in the interviews, like they really captured Selena overall as the very fun, energetic, loves her family, loves her fans in the series really well. At some point, though, throughout the series, you're kind of like, where's the drama? Because after a while, like you see the ups and downs, you see them struggling a little bit, but there's no drama. There's no really meat into that drama. There's like you get a little appetizer. So watching the series, I was just kind of waiting like for something to like the family's members to blow up at each other like a real family would do, or something a little bit more at stake. You don't really see that. You see that the restaurant goes down. A lot of restaurants have been going down lately. And that's a big thing, but they really gloss over it. There's a lot of glossing over a lot of things that I wish they would just take their time with. This is a two-parter, so they had so many episodes in the first half, and then they're going to have showcase the rest of the episodes in the second half. So I just really thought they could have done a little bit better job on showcasing maybe a little bit more of the drama throughout from the youth to her growing up. So yeah, that was I really enjoyed that aspect. Like Suzette, I really enjoyed Suzette's I should say character, but the sister and sister love, the whole family dynamic, them being on the bus, being on tour. I mean, them almost losing their house, constantly being on the road, trying to make ends meet. There was I mean, I like that aspect. I wish it was a little bit more up the ante. I wanted to know a little bit more something different. Maybe there was. That's what I'm talking about. Like maybe a little bit more of a, I don't know, necessarily a tragedy, but something that really kind of, I know there's something when you're in the road for that long, I know there's something that goes down, and we don't get that until I think we get introduced to Chris later on, or even when Selena starts kind of making her scene and the struggle to wanting to do an American album and also wanting to be herself, which, by the way, facts, when she did the album cover and the one particular scene where she wanted to wear her clothes and the designer's like, no, 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 no. What do you want to do? I want to wear my clothes. No, 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 no. Let me put some clothes on you. That particular scene. Facts on that is that Selena actually was the one that picked the little, the little headband, the crazy little look on that cover. That's a false in the show. There's a little bit of false facts in the show, but that particular scene was false. Selena actually was the one that wanted to wear that. So it's crazy. See, when you're done with the series and you go back and you try to find out what's real and what's not, there's a lot of things in here that are accurate, but then a lot of things that are not. The fact that when we get introduced to Chris, which I thought was a terrible either casting or overall, I don't blame the actor. I honestly think it was the writing. Chris does nothing. The love, when they even lock eyes and for the first time, Selena and Chris, it is so cheesy. It is Hallmark caliber cheesy. It was bad. This series has a lot of bad kind of shots and editing where this Netflix should be throwing some money into the series. And sometimes it looks good, but sometimes it looks bad. But going to that particular scene, really bad. No chemistry. We all know, and a lot of the fans love the Chris and Selena love story. In my opinion, there were young people in love. Even Chris said he has a book. There's a big war not a big war, but Chris was sued by Abraham he wanted to do a TV show off his book, but Abraham stopped that right away. But in his book, he said, it's a struggle. It was a struggle because those two were always constantly together. And at one point they did speak of divorce. Like that's the kind of stuff I want to know. I want some of that stuff that Chris is saying to this series. We're not there yet, but the way they portrayed the relationship between Chris and Selena in this series was terrible. I thought it was the worst thing about this series. I thought, okay, these are young people in love. Why does Abraham hate Chris so much though? Well, Abraham's being portrayed in a series as a cookie cutter kind of guy, a sugarcoat kind of guy. Yes, he has his moments, but I don't understand why he hates Chris that freaking much. Chris doesn't give him a reason. Chris hasn't been doing in factual stuff. Chris was known to be a little bit of a bad boy. That's why Abraham didn't like him. Drugs, whatever. I think it was drugs. Don't quote me on that. But something had to be a reason why Abraham really hated his guts that much. I mean, the obvious reason is he didn't want Chris to come between his family, his goals, his money, and being with Selena, because he could ruin all that. Selena could fall in love and elope and go somewhere else, and she would quit the band or whatever. That's probably was his fears. So they didn't really do a good job on that whole thing, especially the season finale. I didn't. Abraham wasn't mad enough to me. I know Abraham, when he found out, was livid. I know that motherfucker was probably throwing shit at Chris at that point. And then the him just finding out was false too. It's actually Suzette who ratted Selena out. Where's that? Where is that? Put that in the series. I want to know the after. Suzette rats Selena out, right? Suzette rats Selena out, and then what's the aftermath? Put that in the show. Abraham, you are sugarcoating the show. There is things I like about this show, but you make it very hard for me to like things if you're not really giving me your all. Selena is an icon. I don't believe anything really is going to damage her reputation. I don't think anything's going to damage her image. There's like rumors and stuff about maybe her having an affair with this guy, Ricardo Martinez, liposuction. Who cares? Even if it was true, Who cares? Yes, I just told you right now. Chris even said in his book, him and Selena were even thinking about divorce, but they rekindled their love. And then maybe they still had kind of a falling out, and maybe Selena did have an affair. Who cares? That doesn't defy what she did on the stage, what she accomplished throughout, the love of her fans. It does not. That does not matter. It might matter to a lot of fans about the love story. Yes, there's a love story there, and they got to be at peace that when she did pass, she was still married to Chris, and they still loved each other. But if all those rumors were true, and they're really, take it with a grain of salt, it does not matter. It does not matter. So with Abraham playing it really safe for the series really makes me mad, because why do I have to watch the series and go and find out a lot of information on Selena, interviews, all that good stuff, and yet, that's more, I'm getting more out of just looking all this stuff up when the series should have it right there. Granted, we cut off right when Chris gets kicked off the bus, but just the whole thing about Chris coming in and what was it? It felt glossed over again. A lot of this stuff feels glossed over, and I'm very heartbroken by that. I think the fans, if you want to be a little bit different than the movie, this is why the movie's really good, is because at least they kind of like hit you with a little bit of it. But going back to some of the budget here, there was a lot of times when Suzette, when she's doing her driver's license or she's driving and she meets her future husband, and then there's a lot of times when Selena was driving. Oh my God. When they're driving and then you just see the background, and the background looks so fake. So like the old school 1920s kind of thing. So fake. Looked absolutely fake. I got taken out right away, and they're talking and she's like doing a little steering wheel. Bad graphics. Terrible graphics. I got to talk about it. I saw a review on it and I was like, what's she talking about? I absolutely agree. And a lot of people, I think, are agreeing too. The wigs were awful. The wigs were terrible. Selena's wig, bad. Very, 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 very bad. If you see the pictures between the real Selena and then the actress who's playing Selena in this series, and you see the wigs, you see that, okay, Selena was rocking some weird-ass hairdos back in the day, but the wig did not help in this series. It was bad. Really, really bad. That really showcased the cost of the budget of the series. There was one particular times where they would be in concert, and you just see the fans and you see like the room, and you're just like, this doesn't feel like a really great, good budget kind of series. There's some instance that looks really good, but this instance is not looking too hot, not looking too hot at all. Now the actress who plays Selena, her name is Christian Soratos. She's actually in Walking Dead. She plays Rosita. And it's crazy because Rosita's character in the comic books is, I'm not going to get into it, but she's really good. I like her in Walking Dead. I think she is very beautiful, but her dancing and her lip singing are god awful. The lip singing was really, really bad. There were so many times, I'm blind as a bat, and if I can see your lips not really matching up, and I mean, if you go back and watch La Bamba and you go back and watch the Selena movie, there's probably this very similar. But when you're here in 2020 and you're moving and you're singing to Selena's songs, and the lips are just not matching, and you're actually looking at your future husband Chris in the back, and the music is still playing, really, 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 really bad. So I thought the actress, how her portrayed, that was, I think, the main issue for a lot of people, was just she wasn't a very good dancer. She didn't really embody Selena and her fierceness and her independent. Well, I mean, I don't want to say independence, but her aura. She didn't. When Selena hit that stage, she hit it hard. She went in there. She did her. I mean, look at some of her live performances. her dances were like, she would groove, she would rock the mic, she had this snare, she had that like lip action where she was ready to go out and perform. This actress does not do that. This actress doesn't have that same ferocity as the original Selena, and she doesn't look like her. We all know that. I didn't think Jennifer Lopez really looked too much like her either. Selena was her own kind of. I just feel like there could have been a better casting. And of course, a lot of people want to talk about, Selena. She was like her body. I mean, she's a very beautiful woman. A lot of people were jealous of her because she could eat a whole damn medium sized pizza and still look like she did. Um, the body didn't match up to just this. I really like I said, I like what this actress did, and she tried, and I like what she did in the series. She really brought a lot of positivity. She really brought a likability. But when you're going to do an icon like Selena, she didn't have it. Some people have it. Some people could do that. She couldn't do that. Example is Joaquin Phoenix in The Walking Dead. Or The Walking Dead. Not The Walking Dead. I'm pretty sure one of the songs of The Walking Dead. Joaquin Phoenix in Walk the Line. Taylor, was it Taylor Edgerton? Tyler Edgerton, the guy from Kingsman, as Elton John. If you haven't seen that Elton John movie, wow, absolutely brilliant. Oh, even Reese Witherspoon, even though she didn't look like June Carter, she really brought that nice singing voice. I don't understand. I know Christina did when she would like talk to the fans, that was her real voice, or when she does a little bit of singing she does a little bit of singing in the series. I don't understand why she chose to do lip singing. I know that there's a couple interviews why they asked her on that. I didn't catch them. I didn't watch those interviews, but I don't justify just go for it. Joaquin Phoenix as Johnny Cash, he went for it, and shit, I bought that album because he has it's not the fantastic singing voice, but he has a great voice for what he was trying to portray, and he brought it. He brought that Man in Black, So I don't want to trash her. It's not her fault. She wasn't, just like everybody else, she wanted to be casted. I believe she's really big fan of Selena. So I'm not going to bash her on that. She tried her best. I do enjoy the series because she is very likable. She's not Selena. She doesn't feel like Selena. I think the only Selena part is the chemistry between her and the actress who's playing her sister Suzette. Even AB, and AB was from East Los High, the series. If you guys haven't seen that show, he's really good in that series as well. But it's really hard. It's a tough job. Everybody's not gonna, whoever it was gonna be Selena. I think a lot of people would nitpick on a lot of things because Selena is just a big deal. She's huge, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. There's people. It's sad to say, but the greats die young. All right, the greats die young, and I think her legacy just really gets cemented on what her accomplishments. And it's not just her; it's also her brother and her sister. So that's what the series is kind of trying to lean towards. Los Dinos. I think, and I think they do a good job on representing the sister and the brother for sure. Take a swig of water. So it's so funny because I was watching the series and my sister's such a huge Selena fan, and she's like, "Oh," and she was doing her homework, and I was watching the series in the living room, and she's just kind of watching. And she's like, "It's not very good, is it?" I'm like, it's all right, it's okay, She's like, "I don't know, I don't like the actress. It's a terrible Selena." I was like, and the dancing could be better. She could have really sang. The lip sync is terrible. The wigs are terrible. But am I going to watch the second part? Yes, I'm going to continue watching, see how they represent a lot of these, especially what happens to Selena. We all know what happens to Selena, with Yolanda being introduced at the end. I think the misfire too is on the mom. I would have liked to learn more. The mom is just kind of there to be, to encourage Abraham. And I feel like I would have liked a little bit more of the mom and Selena relationship. You see a little bit here and there. You see more Suzette and Selena. A lot more Suzette and Selena. And Suzette has a museum, and she's probably a big, heavily influence on the series as well. So is probably the brother AB. Chris is nowhere near the series. If you don't know, Chris was not allowed to be part of the series and have input on it, which is a real drag. This is why the Selena and Chris love story, I think, really falls apart in the series. Now, um, so the pacing of the series was, because it kind of glossed over a lot of things. I actually think the pacing was not too bad. It never felt. I really kind of. It was a nice little binge. It never felt like it kind of dragged too much. I think I remember thinking, each episode how it ended. I wanted it to end a little bit more of a bang in every episode, but it kind of really ended like, oh, to be continued kind of thing going on. It really kind of, if you watch the first episode and you ended that first episode, it didn't really kind of leave you hooking like a Game of Thrones, where as much as trash that show is now. Game of Thrones episode 1, season 1, when Bran falls off the tower, like you're like, oh shit, I gotta watch the next episode. Where Selena, it's like it would end on this one particular part, or like when she meets Chris, and it's kind of super corny and cheesy, and then you're like, oh, okay, I don't know about this guy who's playing Chris. I don't know about this. It just seems like kind of really cheesy. Do I really want to continue this series? So I feel like they really dropped the ball on like ending each episode. I feel like it just could have been more better. You could have engaged us more. You could have left us wanting more on the next episode. So Selena. I know a lot of people want to go Selena, but she said it's Selena. Selena. Um, if you don't know the real Selena, I would encourage you to go and just watch a lot of her interviews. If you watch a lot of her interviews, I think it's going to ruin the series a lot for you. If you are a huge fan of Selena, if you're a huge fan and you've heard this woman sing, you've heard this woman dance, or you've seen this woman dance, you've heard this woman in interviews, you've seen her live performances, you go from there into the series, you're really going to not like the series at all, because I don't think it represents Selena herself to the fullest, of course, like I just pointed out with the actress and just a lot of the choices they make, especially with her and Chris. But if you're kind of like want to know more of the family side of it and you want to see what they kind of brought to the table, then this is a good series. I mean, her cousins being involved in there, Peter, uh, just learning how they came up with songs, or picking out the songs. Some things are facts, some things are fictional, and you would think that Selena. And there's another thing that I wish they would have kind of like addressed a little bit more. Yes, Selena was Mexican American. She had a lot of trouble. If you listen to her interviews, a lot of trouble speaking like a nice fluent kind of my dad told me when I spoke like proper Spanish, like they don't speak proper Spanish, they speak kind of slang Spanish. So for her, it was kind of like slang Spanish, but she would kind of mess up, but then the interviewer would help her or whatever. Some of that, bring that into the show, and that will bring more of a likability to Selena as well. I mean, but it's very hard to really say that this show is for a big hardcore Selena fan, if it's worth it to watch it, because I really, really feel like if you're a huge fan of Selena, you are not going to like this show. You're not going to like how it represents her. You're going to be looking at this actress and you're going to be saying, that's not my Selena. She looks nothing like her. She doesn't dance like her. So that takes away from even liking the other characters or the other family members and following their journey. I felt like the format of this should have been a little bit different. Like I said, they really glossed over a lot of stuff. I think there should have been at least seasons, but knowing Netflix cancels a season right away. They give you a season, they're like, nah, I'm going to take it away. So I think Selena should have been a little bit longer season, or at least maybe a couple movies. I don't know. I feel like there's more to the story of Selena. Just like when I watched All Eyes on Me with Tupac, I feel like knowing Tupac and how for 25 years and or when he was 25 and he died and how much he accomplished and who the man he was, that movie was not going to tell the whole story. Same with the Selena. Selena to me is kind of like Aaliyah, but when it comes to, I guess, recognition, when it comes to music and when it comes to the accomplishments, I think Selena definitely goes over Aaliyah. But losing those two, icons so early and wondering what could have been is very heartbreaking. Same with Richie Valens. If you watch La Bamba, see that's what you take away from the movies is that you get that what would have happened if they were still here. With the series, you're like, oh, okay, we're moving forward. We're going to this seems okay. The drama's not that crazy entertaining. Um, but yeah, I mean, thinking of, it's I saw the series quite like about like 2 weeks ago. Um, I think the information I dug up and the just and the crazy stuff that's been coming out about Selena, but in this book about this journalist who did this book, who interviewed Yolanda in prison, grain of salt. And then this Dr. Ricardo Martinez coming out saying they had an affair. It's crazy shit, and it kind of like I can see why the family just wants to like shut them up. There might be some truth to it though. There might, but who cares? Honestly, who really cares? I think what I really took away from the series is that the main thing I took away from this series is that the father, Abraham, is really trying to make his ass look good. I when I listened to him interviews, I no doubt believe he had love for Selena. He loved his daughter. He's still in pain from his daughter's death. You don't see Selena's mom interviews at all because I think she's still heartbroken. You see Suzette really kind of choke up with a lot of the interviews. But when it comes to the dad, I think a lot if you've seen some of his Twitter rants, especially towards Chris, it's a lot about the money. It's a lot about him saying, I'm not the asshole you guys think I was, but I'm pretty sure you were, dude. I'm pretty taken away from the series. The fact that you have to like sugarcoat yourself, vanilla soft ice cream yourself from the movie to the series and really paint a picture like I wasn't that bad. Yeah, I'm your typical Mexican dad, but I wasn't that bad. Dude, my dad, my dad didn't even put us in a bad. And he's that typical Mexican dad. I'm pretty sure you did. Someone's got a whooping. I just really feel like Abraham was like the Joe Jackson. I really think he really just taken away from the series and how he tried. He really tried his best in the series to make himself kind of the good guy. It felt like that. It really felt like he tried to like say, yeah, I yelled at her, I did this, but I had a reason. And maybe he did, but it wasn't a soft reasoning. It wasn't a soft yell. It was Edward James Olmos. I think he knew what he was doing when he took that role. Because I feel like Abraham's like that. I feel like Abraham really didn't give Selena a childhood. Selena like had a friend who even worked for them, and Selena couldn't even go with this friend to like the movies. She really had to sneak out a lot of times. She kept the uh the dating with Chris to a lot. She did not want her father to know. Everybody was scared of their father. They loved their father. They loved their family, but it's taken away from the series. Even though they tried to soften up and sugarcoat it a little bit, I took away that nah, man. I took away that Abraham really like didn't give Selena. He kind of treated her like a manager, with a little bit of fatherly love, but more manager. Even though the series tells you a little bit different, my opinion, and me being here for 31 years and seeing a lot of parents and seeing a lot of being Hispanic myself and seeing a lot of the culture, I really feel like Abraham really took a lot, really went more manager mode than father mode. That really did, but it might have been he didn't really understand too how to really help Selena or just give Selena time to really be like a kid. It was all work and no play. You know, I mean, before Selena passed, how many dates has she been in? How many movies has she seen? How many times was she able to go to the fair with her friends? That's what I took away from the series. It made me feel bad for Selena. And yes, she became this icon, but I think maybe she wanted a little bit more. Maybe she wanted just to be a normal person sometimes. I'm assuming she did. I think a lot of artists want that. I think Abraham just took it a little bit too far. And it's so funny because Abraham is not like that in the series. But in my mind, after watching the series, I feel like, dude, you really tried to sugarcoat this shit. But going back to the series itself, though, I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed reminiscing back or going back to Selena's music. I really enjoyed looking back in Selena's the clips of the movie, the interviews, the music video. So what this series actually made me do is love Selena even more. So I give kudos to the series at least doing that. So if anything, yes, the budget's not there. Yes, the wigs were terrible. Really good acting and a lot of these cast members. Really good insight on the other family members. But what I take away from the series is thank you for at least letting me revisit Selena and let me dig more into Selena and see why she was so beloved to so many fans. And it makes me more of a fan as well. So this is going to be really, this is truly for the new generation to really keep Selena's legacy going, if not for money. um, but they do, but you know what? They do a good job on that aspect. I think a lot of people are going to listen to the music. They're going to have their problems with it, but they're going to be like, "Oh, what?" And they will go to Spotify, Pandora, whatever you, iTunes, or iPlay, whatever, and to look up Selena's music, which is fantastic. That's what you want. That's pretty much should be the goal of this series. But I hope that people go and actually look at her live performances or music videos and see how freaking ferocious this woman was. This woman was no joke. You want to talk about somebody who would light up your day and you can kick back and eat a pizza and drink a beer with. But yeah, she was all business. She was a fashion guru. I mean, this is look her up. Look her up on YouTube. She's on YouTube. Look her up. So Selena, the series, the first part is not bad. It's not that bad. People who love Selena is going to hate it, but the people who come in here kind of a little bit new to it, who knows a little bit, maybe just came off only saw the movie or heard about Selena or listens to Selena, just our music. Coming into, I think they'll have their gripes with it, but I think they'll appreciate and they'll, like I said, they'll go back and say, oh, yeah, Selena had really good music, but the series should have been a lot better. Netflix should have done a better job with the series. Gave them more money. Made a little bit. The writing should have been better. There should have been more to it than just glossing over a lot of the events or just glossing over from the age gap and all that stuff. So, I think you should, if you're hesitant about it, if you already know about Selena's legacy, if you saw the movie, if seen the interviews and all that stuff, the live performances, then you don't have to watch it. Honestly, it's not gonna do anything that makes you really love Selena even more if you already have all that knowledge and you're just a big Selena fan. Even with the people that are coming in here, even if they don't watch it, they're not missing too much craziness to it, but I do think if you do watch it, you're going to appreciate something, I guess. Yeah, the series is okay. It's fine. It's not the most outlandish thing I've ever seen. Yes, there's Selena. The representation could have been a hell of a lot better, but it's okay. It's fine, guys. It's fine. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Selena the series. I watched it. I appreciate it for letting me go back and dig a little deeper. But it's really just really one of those series where either you're going to watch it or you're not. Either you're going to like it or you're not. But in my opinion, it's okay. It's okay. The second part, I'm assuming that it's going to be very similar than the first part. So I don't think they're going to give them too much crazy more of a budget, but we will see. I'm very interested to see how they play more of the Chris and Selena romance. It's been a dud in the first half, so let's see the second half, and the major thing is Yolanda. It's going to be very interesting on the death, how they do the death of Selena. So we shall see. So I want to thank you guys for listening. I am Dan Manaki, Daniel's son. Check out all my other videos. I just did the Mandalorian thoughts and season finale as well. I have a giveaway going on, so you can check out that video. Yeah, what did you guys think of the series? If you've seen it, please, I would love to know what's your thoughts on Selena. Are you a fan? What is your favorite song? And are you going to watch the second part? If you have seen the first part, are you going to continue with this when they release the second part of it? I am. I'm very interested to see what they if they do, how it's going to go. But yeah, guys. I mean, thank you guys for listening. Please like the video if you like it. Comment below. Subscribe. Would love for you guys to subscribe and see all my videos. So thank you guys for listening. I'm Dan Mackey, Daniel's son. That's my singing voice. See you guys.